This is No Hipsters Pod.
It's February. It's Black History Month. What does that mean to you guys?
Excuse me?
Black History Month.
We need a longer month.
Black History Month? We need the whole year.
We need a longer
Black History
month.
Year.
Episode 33, No Hipsters Pod. It's your boy Ronte, the founder of NoHipstersLaw.com. And this week, my co-host is my good friend, Emmanuel Egolum. Emmanuel, say what's up.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Ronte, what's good?
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. Washington, D.C. resident for the last 10 years. Consultant, entrepreneur, brand influencer.
Part-time model, all that.
Part-time model, you know, slightly.
All right, let's get to the topics. We have to start with Meek Mill and his run-in with 6ix9ine, which happened over the weekend. They both happened to be at the same club in Atlanta. And, you know, 6ix9ine, who's all of 5'6", ran up a Meek Mill, and it was, I mean, I don't know if you saw the videos, but they're both yelling at each other and filming each other while they're yelling at each other.
You's a bitch, nigga. 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 I'll fuck you up, nigga. You's a bitch, nigga. All y'all niggas pussies, nigga. You's a pussy.
Both, of course, have their entourages with them, and then 6ix9ine yells a Pooh Shiesty line in the midst of the whole thing.
I got my own fight on the security in the club.
But I was, you know, not impressed, but somewhat, you know, shocked that 6ix9ine was brave enough to do that. And I thought it was hilarious that Meek Mill, for all the shit he talks, really wasn't about that life. Because, mind you, the whole time, 6ix9ine is calling him the N-word throughout this whole confrontation. So did you see it, and what did you think?
Yeah, I saw the videos, and I'm aware of the situation. And honestly, it's all very confusing and contradictory at the same time.
Facts.
And I wouldn't necessarily say 6ix9ine and the words bravery in the same sentence, because, like I said, everything in that video is super contradictory. Like, you know, in terms of the Pooh Shiesty line that he randomly shouted out, you know, in the middle of that crazy situation. I think the line was something like, "Bitch, I got my own fire." Right. Need security in the club, right? Right. But the heinous thing about it is there's 20 or so security members between 6ix9ine's entourage and Meek Mill's entourage. So they can't even really get it shaken if they wanted to.
True.
So the whole situation is shaky, you know, from the foundation. And it's really hard to kind of, you know, assess the genuineness of the situation, since it's kind of like, you know, 6ix9ine jumping out from behind Buicks and whatnot. You know, just very random.
Not the Buicks.
I'm saying the Buick Enclave or something.
Right. And it's funny, but I mean, not that they're both, you know, famous people with a lot of security. Like, I wasn't really expecting them to scrap. However, I think Meek Mill does a lot of talking, and considering how much talking he does, he just didn't seem as, you know, with it as you would expect, right? I wasn't expecting him to throw a punch, but it was very like, yeah, you know, like, oh, you know, you're trying to get me locked up. Like, it was like a lot of excuses being made. And it's funny, the games manager, Whack 100, actually pointed out all the excuses being made.
6ix9ine won that one. I don't give a fuck. Nobody say, oh boy, if you worried about going back to jail, leave that man alone. I suggest you press restart right the fuck now. Stop addressing 6ix9ine. Stop addressing academics. Stop. Don't say nothing. Don't say shit.
I totally get your point. From my situation, from my viewpoint, I kind of understand. Meek has a lot to lose by, you know, engaging in any kind of tomfoolery with 6ix9ine, right, especially if it comes to, you know, getting physical. So I could totally understand his hesitancy to actually, you know, get in there and mix it up with 6ix9ine or his security team, because there's no pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, you know, pun intended. So, you know, for those reasons, I kind of feel like, you know, his best move in the situation is to just totally ignore the guy. Not that he asked for that confrontation, but I would have just kept it moving, walked right in my car, my $600,000 vehicle or wherever he was driving, and just kept it pushing.
Right. Huh. But yeah, and so in addition to that, Meek Mill has been in the news again, this time because of a new song titled Kobe. It's Meek Mill and Lil Baby that just leaked. And it's every bar, references Kobe, but there's one in particular that has people a bit bothered. It's a line where he goes,
"This bitch I'm fucking always tell me that she love me, but she ain't never show me. Yeah, and if I ever I'm going out with my chopper, it'd be another Kobe."
Now, it's a strange one because it's marginally clever. Choppa, Kobe died, in a helicopter, but it's above all very, very, in my opinion, inappropriate. And I'm not really sure that whatever lyrical points or he was supposed to earn from that is worth it. I don't think I think it's outweighed by the inappropriateness and the insensitivity of the line. So what did you think?
So I threw 2 yellow flags at that bar in particular. One, the first one being because it's about Kobe and it's not stated in a way that gives reverence to the legend that Kobe Bryant is.
Right.
So and associating Kobe Bryant's legacy with gun violence is just distasteful,
right,
from my point of view. So that's the first yellow flag. Actually, I'm gonna give him 3 yellow flags. That's the first yellow flag. The second yellow flag is the fact that you're referencing Kobe's death in a manner that children died. His daughter was 13,
right? So
you're mentioning a 13-year-old's legacy in a gun bar line in a marginally good rap song is not a good look
at all.
So, I just had to throw the second yellow flag at that one.
Right.
And then the third yellow flag that I'm throwing right now, it's a lot of yellow flags I'm throwing. I don't even got that many in my pocket. But the third yellow flag I'm throwing right now is the bar is trash. It's not even a witty,
exactly.
It didn't give me the lemon sour face. Nothing.
Right. It's what's really good. I mean, I see that there was, I guess, a quote unquote entendre with the use of the word choppas, but it was stupid and it didn't really make sense if you actually sit with it and think about what he's trying to say. It was a stupid line. So
the bar was hot garbage. I was disappointed because I'm like, if you're gonna mention Kobe's legacy and make a song that has any kind of association with Kobe Bryant, every bar's got a hit to me.
Right.
But I'm not a 15-year-old kid, so I don't really have an opinion when it comes to this rap.
Right.
It's rap talk.
Yeah, we're officially the old heads. But anyways,
big fan.
Let's talk about T.I. and Tiny. So over the last few weeks, they have been on the receiving end of allegations about sexual abuse. A former friend of the couple says that T.I., not just sexual abuse, also just regular violence. She accuses T.I. of pulling a gun on her, and that woman now says a whole bunch of other women have come with varied allegations of them, coercing people into sexual acts. And so it's kind of, it's strange because all you have are these social media posts that she's basically, the woman was reposting people's DMs to her. So we don't have a lot of hard evidence, but I think people are generally inclined, and rightly so, to believe these types of allegations. And so T.I. and Tiny's show has, halted production because of the allegations, and shit's not looking good. And I'm not only am I inclined to believe these types of things anyways, but T.I. I think has a bad record as far as just... I mean, I think the whole Hyman situation with his daughter has kind of painted him in a certain way, in my opinion. And
that's a good point.
So when you think about that and just think about how he says questionable things in general, it's kind of easy for me to believe. And so I was wondering what you thought.
Yeah, so I guess this whole situation isn't that surprising based on what you just said about, his relationship with his daughter, the drama that Tiny and T.I., have been involved with in terms of the the rumors of, you know, how they conduct themselves in their relationship. So this all of a sudden just kind of coming to the light and being as explosive as it is isn't really that surprising.
Right.
But, you know, with all that said, I think we kind of have to look at this situation from, you know, its foundation. Like, I guess the woman who kind of brought all of this to the light, Sabrina Peterson, if I got her name correct. We got to kind of look at her and be like, all right, is she somebody that we can even believe? You know, what's her background story? Like, what does she have to lose, or what does she have to gain from the situation?
Right.
And she seems like she's doing pretty okay. Like, she's like an upstanding business person. She's been, you know, portrayed in like Forbes magazine, and a lot of other like highly respected publications. So it doesn't seem like she's out here just kind of clout chasing or trying to get a paycheck out the situation.
I mean, we could argue that both ways. We can say she's not as famous and wealthy as T.I. and Tiny, so technically she still has something to gain. But on the other side, I'm hesitant to usually talk about what people have to gain, because that it's usually it puts you in a position where you're just automatically discrediting people who are either poorer or less famous. And so I get what you're saying. But, you know, all that aside, I mean, are the allegations credible? And of course, it's he said, she said, but, you know, no one was there, so we don't know. Now, what I will say is that she took a lie detector test and posted it online.
Oh, she actually took it?
Yes, she took it and she passed.
Ooh.
And so, now, of course, lie detector tests are not admissible in courts, but she's taken one. And so that kind of adds a bit of credibility to her, in my opinion. And so, yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I really think also T.I.'s public statement denying it really wasn't a strong one. I think he could have done without it.
Whatever we ever have done has been done with consensual adults who into what we into and like what we like.
I definitely had the same feeling when I read his public statement. And, you know, you're right. Like, there's nothing illegal with, you know, inviting extra people into your bedroom if that's what makes you and your spouse happy. However, you know, that's not what we're questioning. We're definitely questioning whether or not it was consensual, you know, were people under the influence with hard narcotics. Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but were there allegations of underage, or am I making that up? Or
there might have been, but don't quote me, because first of all, I feel like a lot of those, some of them have been proven to be fake, and what Sabrina is saying is that T.I. and Tiny sent people to send fake allegations so they can then go around saying, "Hey, look, this is a fake allegation she reposted," right? And so it's really hard to tell what's going on, which is why I would take everything with a grain of salt.
Touche.
But yeah, it's an interesting one, and I'm really keeping an eye on it to see how it plays out. Let's change gears and talk about Gorilla Glue Girl. And
oh man.
It's all settled now, but I've never seen a story go that viral that quickly, and it was all over the place. So for anyone who's been living under a rock, a 40-year-old woman, she's being called girl, but she's really a woman, 40-year-old woman named Tessica Brown.
Factually.
Tessica Brown from Louisiana says that she was trying to, fix her hair and had this product called Got to Be Glue, which I guess helps her ponytail stay in place. And she ran out, so she then used sprayed Gorilla Glue. Now, I don't know how you make that mistake, and I don't even know what will possess a person to do that. I wouldn't even do that with regular arts and crafts glue, but you did that with industrial level adhesive, and it got stuck in her hair for a month, and she had to have it taken out by a plastic surgeon who happens to be Ghanaian, by the way. And
I peeped that.
Right. And that happened, and just what I really want to talk about is whether or not you believe this whole thing was real or it was just a grand publicity stunt, because I find it hard to believe that anyone's actually that stupid. And also, as far as viral stars go, she just seemed a little bit too ready for the fame. She had the blue check within 2-3 days and had an agent and was just lining up these big interviews right away.
Agent for what though?
Well, I mean, yeah, for bookings, if someone wants to like, if people want to like get her for an interview or, for whatever reason. And her agent is like this woman who's done all these like reality TV show type situations. So it made me wonder if it was real because she seemed too ready for it. Now, if it was a stunt, then she deserves all the fame anyway, because I think that's a great length to go for notoriety. But it was just the whole thing was strange.
Yeah, it just seems like, if this indeed is, or was a stunt, she definitely went through extraordinary lengths, to achieve what she achieved.
Right.
But I guess my gut tells me that this could be a clout chasing exercise.
Yeah.
And only because, for a woman to go through 30 days of that level of discomfort willingly,
right?
I mean, there has to be, a check or, a magic bean like at the end of this,
right?
Because I just don't see a Black woman in particular putting herself under that kind of, amount of stress and tribulation, and knowing what we know about, how, Black women in general, sometimes go and have to deal with certain things that deal with their hair and their perception. I just don't think somebody would, put themselves through that without some sort of, mastermind plan in place, right, for that. So,
and it almost sounded like she didn't go to the hospital the whole time. So like, what were you doing? Like
and that's crazy.
Like you went to social media before the doctor. Like it just, I don't know. I don't trust it. But whatever the case, she, the glue's out, and she's off with her fame and her thousands of dollars from her GoFundMe. So I'm not even mad at her, honestly. Like just get it how you live. But I'm wondering. And also, actually, a few people on the internet, on Facebook, said that they spoke to one of her relatives, and that person confirmed that it was a whole like stunt. So.
Oh no!
There's
See,
that.
I was just about to hit her with the sympathy line. I was going to say that we're not women, so it's I can't really judge her. I've never had those kind of struggles, or never been put in that kind of predicament where I've had to consider, household items for a quick hair fix. So I was going to let her slide with a pass, like, okay, she made an honest mistake. But, if those are the kind of details that are kind of coming to surface, then,
right. So,
to hell with it.
Who knows? But, kudos to her either way. Let's talk about Justin Timberlake. So
let's get into it.
Yes. This past week, a New York Times documentary called Framing Britney Spears dropped, and just goes through, the media scrutiny of Britney throughout her career, and also talks about her conservatorship, which she's been under for about 13 years now, and basically, deprives her of like control of everything, from like who she gets to be around to like even whether or not she can spend her own money. And so, and I believe, I haven't seen all of the documentary, but there are parts of it where they play, Justin and all the weird shit he said about her back in the day. And so there was a lot of backlash after the documentary premiered. And so he issued an apology to Britney and also to Janet Jackson. And basically says that, he's contributed to a system where that's set up for white men to win and blah, blah, blah. He's acted in ways that were, unfair. And, to me, the apology, and I don't know if you've read it, but the apology seemed very light on detail and was really almost 2 decades late. So it just wasn't enough for me. What do you think?
No, I totally agree with you. I think the apology is definitely a day late and a dollar short.
Facts.
And, it definitely touches all the right notes from a high level in terms of, mentioning that you benefit from white privilege and, you're not perfect and this is only the first step. But for me, like the real work begins after the apology. Like, what are you going to do now that you've, set back I'm speaking specifically to Janet Jackson. You set back this legend.
Right.
You've cost her a tour.
He cost her career as we know it. I mean, if we're being honest, that was the end of Janet Jackson. And it's not like she was falling off. She was still red hot when that whole thing happened.
Still popping.
Very much so. And when that happened, Les Moonves, who was the head of Viacom, who owns CBS, who I guess aired the Super Bowl that year, put Janet on a blacklist that she was on for years. So that means MTV couldn't play her. All the Viacom-owned radio stations couldn't play her. So that if one of the largest media companies decides that they're not going to play your music, that could end any. In fact, the only reason why she was able to like get some play at all is because she was Janet, right? And so BET could not justify not playing Janet Jackson, one of the greatest black artists ever. And so BET could still play her just because she's Janet. But MTV stopped playing her videos. And even years after, when she tried to get a book deal with Simon & Schuster, which is owned by Viacom, apparently Les Moonves was angry when he heard that she was able to get a deal at that company. And this is like 5 years after the fact. So he basically ended her, and it came down to Justin reportedly going to his office to cry, and Janet not doing that.
What's crazy, just to kind of switch gears a little bit, like I'm not sure if the punishment necessarily matched the crime, because I actually looked back at the video, the Super Bowl video, where there's so many questions about what happened. Like the actual act itself wasn't that crazy because there was a full size, metallic pasty in place, so nothing was too crazy, but For Janet's paper to be stopped and her legacy essentially destroyed
permanently, and
it didn't match up.
And mind you, that moment lasted for like 1 second, if that, because I remember watching that live. It lasted for a second.
Same.
Even like that week, she was disinvited from the Grammys because the Grammys air on CBS. So she was disinvited from the Grammys, and Justin not only attended, but got to perform twice. Like, just the difference in treatment was crazy. Now, I get that it was her breast at the end of the day and not his, but it was just so extreme. And Justin was like, it was just the worst kind of betrayal, in my opinion. Just like, that was all, like, you people know me. Like, I would never do a thing like that type of thing. And so,
right.
It was wild.
Yeah, shout to the legend Janet Jackson. Like, she'll always have a place in our culture, in our history, and there's nothing that Justin Timberlake could do in our eyes that'll ever remove her from the pedestal that we put her on.
Winners and losers. Emmanuel, since you're the guest, I will let you go first. Who are your winners and losers?
I've got 2 winners and 1 loser. Is that cool?
That's fine.
All right, so let's set it off. So the first winner that I got is Naomi Osaka, who dethroned Serena Williams in 2 sets, 6-3, 6-4 in the Australian Open. Shout to that queen. I know that win was definitely bittersweet to have to essentially beat your idol. But, shouts to her for taking care of business and doing it in a queenly manner. So, salute to Miss Naomi Osaka.
Okay. And your losers?
I got one more winner.
Good.
Second winner, Kamaru Usman.
Oh, yes.
He beat Gilbert Burns this past Saturday at UFC 258, securing his 13th straight win as welterweight, surpassing UFC legend George St. Pierre, the GSP. And what's crazy is his next fight is going to most likely be your boy, Jorge Masvidal. So it's going to be exciting to see that for part 2.
Losers?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Loser, Rush Limbaugh, who died during Black History Month. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Enough said.
Yes, sir.
All right. So my winner is Lauryn Hill. Her album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, was just certified diamond. That means it's sold 10 million copies in the U.S. alone. Worldwide, it's sold close to 20 million at this point. And so she is winner. And, even though we criticize her all the time for being late to her shows and for being, erratic in some ways, but, that album really has stood the test of time. And I'm happy to see that it's past that 10 million milestone. So Lauryn Hill is definitely my winner for the week.
Salute.
Now, losers. I have 3 this week. So my first will be Gorilla Glue Man. So a guy in Louisiana who doubted the veracity of Gorilla Glue Girl's story.
Put
Gorilla Glue on his mouth and stuck a Solo cup to it, and now he might lose a part of his lip because he had to get the cup removed, in the emergency room, and if it doesn't heal properly, he might lose part of his lip. So he is definitely an idiot. And yeah. And my second loser is Dr. Dre, and that's because at this point in his life and career, he's getting caught up in love and hip hop drama.
What a dummy!
Like it's so unfortunate. So he's dating April Jones, who has a baby by Omarion from B2K, and then also dated Lil Fizz from B2K, and they're dating, apparently dating for a while. And April Jones' co-star Monique Slaughter, confirmed. I mean, not that we needed to have that confirmed because we saw the video of them holding hands and everything, but she spoke about it, and then he, according to Monique, called her, threatening her.
I don't care who you think you are. I don't care who the world has told you are. I don't know you, and you don't know me, and I didn't say anything negative about you, sir. You can watch the 40-second clip about what I said about you, sir. And it wasn't negative. So don't you send another motherfucker to this phone of mine to make one more fucking threat. Yeah, Dr. Dre. And I recorded it. Wrong fucking bitch. Wrong move, motherfucker. Suck my dick. You're done. I fucking recorded both conversations. You're fucked up the ass. You thought that aneurysm fucked you up? I'm the aneurysm, bitch.
What a size of
like
L.
Gigantic L. Like I'm not, like, such an unforced error. Like, why do you need to do it? And now you now have this much younger woman who is not even really in your, stratosphere as far as celebrity is concerned. And she's now calling you, talking shit, saying that she's the aneurysm. Like, that's crazy. So, it's wild. But, so Dr. Dre for sure is my second loser. And my third loser is, of course, Meek Mill. I think for someone who talks as much shit as he does, he just wasn't really living up to it when push came to shove. And also, I think he seems to be enjoying the attention from the beef with 6ix9ine a little bit too much. And so to me, that suggests that he doesn't really mean a lot of what he says. Like, he's just an attention whore. And he had all this smoke for academics on Clubhouse, like, screaming down at academics. And now you have someone in your face, and it was just like, it's like, oh, I don't want to get locked up. Like, it's just, I think a lot of his behavior is weird, and I think he is just quite corny overall. And plus, ever since he ate French fries from his lap while sitting in a pool, I think he's just been it's been canceled. Have you seen that picture?
No, I kind of don't want to see it, man. I don't want to see my favorite rappers like this. This is bad. This is a bad
He's sitting in a pool, like thighs wet and everything, and he has fries in his lap, and he's eating it. Like, it's wild. But yeah, I'll send you the picture.
Oh man, chlorine soaked fries sounds like it's
right. Emmanuel, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you come back. Before we leave, let the people know where they can find you on social media.
For sure. You guys can find me at Consummate Style. That's CONSUMMATE Style. Check me out at Okun Beachwear. Get your West African inspired beachwear. Use code OKEMAN50 to get 50% off. And I'll talk to you later.
Nice. Episode 33, No Hipsters Pod.